What's going on, guys? It's the Rat Pack. Who do we have here?
Dan Nagornia.
What'd you just do?
Not just, but earlier I got second at the Pearl, Mississippi region.
Alright, and what did you play?
I played Majespecter Performage.
Alright, let's see what you got here.
Triple raccoon,
Alright.
triple fox, double cat, and one crow for the Majespecters. Triple flush fire, one mirror conductor, 3 damage juggler, and 1 trick clown for the Performages.
Alright.
And then for generic stuff, 3 arcane eccentric, 3 luster pendulum. For spells, triple wavering eyes, triple upstart goblin, 2 majesty's pegasus.
You can go a little bit slower.
1 terraforming.
Okay.
It'll be good.
Right.
Rigeki, foolish burial, Majespecter cyclone. And then for traps, 2 tempest, 1 tornado, warning, and vanities.
Alright, and for some of the card choices, I see you playing 3 Archfiend eccentric.
For 3 Archfiend eccentric, not only is it a scale to set for your pendulum summons, it's also I used it more often than not as an MST in the main deck. I needed to main 3 because a single summon negation, especially in a mirror match, will absolutely lose you the game. We're like a time-space trap hole. This came in handy every time that I needed it. 3 is exactly how many I needed to destroy as many spells and traps back row, and I needed to clear the way.
Alright, we've seen people playing like 2 or 3 cat. Like, why only 2 and only 1 crow?
1 crow because it's not even really useful. I honestly don't have a purpose for this except for maybe the level 4 effect. And I am running the 1 spell card. It came in handy maybe once, but it's not actually that good. I didn't mind these in the deck, but it wasn't necessary by any means. The cats, I don't like the cat because of the 100 attack, and the opportunity to like open with this and normal summon it without a field spell to send it away or anything is really, really terrible. And for level 3s, you're not focused too hard in the extra deck on rank 3s, so only 5 level 3s is enough.
So we're not seeing any hat trigger. Why no hat trigger?
Trick Clown is almost bad enough because it's a non-pendulum, plus you're summoning damage jugglers off of flush fires. You really want to be able to do something with the luster pendulums once they get on the field. Also, hat trigger doesn't really... If you get a pendulum summon off or you get anything set up, you don't need the additional summon. You never once need multiple chains of like level 4 or level 3 summons. You get 1 big summon and you pretty much can win in that turn.
Right. And the trap lineup looks a little bit unusual. You mind explaining that?
I ended up running the Vanities Emptiness last minute just because I was convinced that, oh, hey, it's Vanities, why aren't you running it? I run 2 Tempest because it's not always good to open with. There are times where you open the clown half of the deck, or you open the Majespecter half of the deck, and just opening these doesn't mean anything because you can't use them. Otherwise, you just want to be searching them, and you only run in... 2 is basically all you need in the course of a game. If you need a 3rd one, you've probably already set yourself up in a position where you probably could have lost. This covers all your bases without going too far into, overfilling your deck with unnecessary trap cards that you don't need.
Is there anything else in the main deck you'd like to explain?
I don't know. The main distinction I wanted to make about the scales is that there are far more high scales in the deck than low scales. But the point is, 3 of your high scales, the raccoons, they search any of your 2 scales that you need to set. So the scale ratio ends up balancing out a lot better than you might expect.
Alright, and that's all for the main deck, it looks like.
I'll just scoop these over.
Alright, we'll start with the extra deck.
For the extra deck, I run 1 Majestic Paladin, 2 Ignisters. The 2 Ignister was incredibly crucial. Several times they would have an answer to the first Ignister. They could chain Cosmos, summon Dark Destroyer, pop it before I go to do anything. They could do any combination of trap cards to stop it. This is probably the best extra deck monster in the entire deck. So you run 2 because once you summon the second one, they've already generally used all their outs to it. The Ragnazir is really good with Mirror Conductor. There's a couple other funny things you can do with it. It can help if you have Mirror Conductor as a monster on the field in combination with this to destroy something on their turn. The Totem Bird, it rarely came up, but I'm glad I had it in the deck. The Utopic Future was to be ready for Cosmos, but I never once needed it. This deck wiped out Cosmos every time without ever needing to go into this. Levier, I never came up, but I would bring back maybe like a damage juggler. Giga Brilliant came up a couple of times, It's basically an acid golem if you have 3 other monsters on the field. It deals the same 3,000 damage. But it also helps cards like Ignister Prominence, Diamond Crab, and Acid Golem swing over Dark Destroyers rather than suicide into them. I actually had just enough for game after playing Upstart using the Giga Brilliant. Acid Golem for rank 3, Destroyer outs. Ouroboros, never summoned it, but I like the versatility of it. Diamond Crab Kings, the Acid Golem for rank 4s. Dweller, Trapeze Magician, Castel, and Diamond Dyer for removal, and then for OTKs. A main focus of this deck is you want to go second so that you're able to attack, and even against another Pendulum deck, you basically want to be able to clear the field, which is why I played 3 Eccentrics, and once you clear the field, you just put at least 8,000 damage on the board, and you just win the very same turn. It doesn't matter who has more cards, as long as you just win the very next turn, instead of worrying about card advantage or any kind of like long-term attrition plays, or conserving your resources or anything. You just win.
Alright, and the side deck?
For side deck, I ran 3 Veiler. I think I only sided the 2 in against Satellar Knights. I run 2 Breaker the Magical Warrior for anti-spell fragrance. Neospatian Grand Mole for Cosmos, bounce back all kinds of ships, and so on. It might be relevant in like a Pendulum matchup if they summon something from the extra deck, but it's not really all that great, except for against Cosmos, I guess. The 3 MST are in there. I brought these in all the time with the Breakers. I would generally cut like Upstarts, and I would cut 1 Eccentric, just because Eccentric isn't quick play, so this was better against anti-spell fragrance
It's
than
also
Eccentric.
not a spell fragrance out.
Yeah, the Eccentric can't out spell fragrance, but this can, because if I activate it at the beginning of my turn, I can chain it from the hand at least to destroy it. I ran 2 Dark Hole for rogue matchups, and I thought about running this against the Pendulums, but I didn't want to overload my deck with side deck cards. You don't want to water this deck down because it's a combo deck.
Right.
I ran 1 Chivalry. This came in handy against Psy-Frames, and it also came in handy against... Well, I didn't side in for Cosmos. For Cosmos, it was the same situation where I brought in way too many cards out of fear of like anti-spell fragrances and stuff that I didn't want to water the deck down by bringing in too many side deck cards. And then I also sided 3 Imperial Iron Walls, but I didn't run them against Cosmos for the same reason that I didn't play the Chivalry. Just I didn't want to overload my deck with anything that didn't like help me go off. And I also didn't face any Infernoids, so it didn't come up.
So it's just for Infernoid?
Infernoids and Cosmos.
Alright.
But I never sided them. I didn't need the Imperial Iron Walls. So, here I am without any, because didn't really need it.
Alright, is that all for the deck?
Yeah, I guess. It's a very simple deck, and it's funny because it's going to be going out of style, like, this next month, once Magicians hit. But I was testing this deck for months and months, leading up to just this month, just for the sake of having a really, really good deck for this.
Alright, sorry the video cut out, but I ran out of storage on this camera, so just how are your matchups were? Or how are your matchups?
For the matchups, I played against 2 Cosmos, a Psy-Frame Cosmo deck, a Satellar Knight deck, a random Rogue deck that I never really got to play. I played against Pepe in the final round, and what else? I faced the Satellar Knights, I think. That's really all I can think of, but overall, the only cards I actually used in my side deck were these.
Did you play any mirror matches?
I played 1 mirror match against the guy was basically playing my deck, but he wasn't running the field spell, I believe, and he didn't really seem to know what he was doing. A really important gameplay choice that I was making all day was I would just, if I had nothing better to do, I would summon a raccoon, search another raccoon, and then pass my turn, because you don't want to commit your board against the Pendulum deck. You don't want to set scales for no good reason against another Pendulum deck in fear of Wavering Eyes. My opponent committed all of his resources to make some big opening push, and then even with the Majespecter trap cards, you just normal summon some monsters, attack over the Majespecters, and then you go off main phase 2 uninterrupted. So in most cases, I think both games I was just aware of the strengths and weaknesses of our deck, it felt like better than he did, because he overextended and left himself wide open, and then the following turn, I would do exactly what I basically did against the other 4 rounds, where I would just put at least 8,000 on the board and just win in one turn, where their follow-up play didn't matter. Them sending or summoning us Damage Juggler, them setting up and searching at the end phase with Dragon Paladin, none of that stuff ever mattered, because all the cards in the world didn't save them once I fielded 8,000 damage.
Alright, so again, congratulations on on second place. Got the mat and the deck box. Thanks a lot. Subscribe for more Rat Boy content. This is Dan Nagorniak signing out.